Evening, soccer fans, and welcome to Birmingham Groves High School. I'm Brad Fetters for BACB Sports, getting you ready for an OAA matchup between our Seaholm Maples and the Birmingham Groves Falcons. And we start out our coverage tonight with the Seaholm Maples, the road team here tonight. They come in with an overall record of 2-1-3, and what they are doing is getting it done with defense. Only 5 goals against all season long. They have a terrific combo of Cameron Geller, who leads the scoring for the Maples, as well as Samantha Sickinger and Paige Green with a couple goals. Their head coach, Manny Rodriguez, is now alongside our very own Andy Aubrey.
All right, Brad, thank you very much. I am down here with Seaholm head coach Manny Rodriguez, one of our favorites, dare I say. Manny, give us a bit of a synopsis of how this season's going so far.
Well, the good news is we're unbeaten in the last 6, and that's the glass half full. The glass half empty is the fact that we've had 4 ties. So, as I told the girls last night, I'd be much more upset and concerned if we didn't have opportunities, but we've had 20 opportunities, 15 opportunities, haven't put the ball in the back of the net, which at the end of the day, that's what you need to do. But the opportunities are there. In the final third, if we just have a little bit more composure, I think we'll be fine. So, they're not going in now, but I fully expect eventually they will go in.
Okay. Who have been a couple of your stars so far?
Well, it starts in the midfield with my captains, and, Lexi Beckman, Sadie, Green, Ava plays in a 9 for us, and she's doing tremendously well. And Allie Adams in my left back, she never ever quits, and she's just solid. And then I've got some runners up front who are doing extremely well, and we just haven't been able to put them in the back of the net. Cameron Geller and Sam, and then my center backs, Stalwart and Kate Lund has been here for 4 years, and then I've got a new sophomore. And Taylor Hartwig, who they just don't come off the field. So, as you know, fitness is very important to me, and my girls are fit, and they're strong. Now, if we finish, we'll be all set.
Okay. All right, well, I told you it was all softballs, but I didn't say I wasn't going to make you think. So here we go. From when you started coaching to now, what would you say are the biggest things you've learned or things and ways you've developed as a coach?
This is my 12th year, and I'm getting older, and what I am realizing now is I've got a few more years left in these legs and to enjoy it much more. And the enjoyment I get is out of the fun that these kids have, not so much on game day, but in practice. And they're just amazing kids, amazing families here in Birmingham, and I'm just blessed to be part of it, just a very small part of it, so I'm very fortunate.
Right. Well, we have been to many of your practices, and you do make it fun. The girls are always having a good time, and I think that sort of thing plays out in the success you've had over the years. So congratulations to that. We'll wish you good luck for down here against your main rivals, and you are in their house tonight, so should be a good one. And for now, we'll wrap it up and send it back up to Brad.
All right, thank you so much, Coach Rodriguez and Andy. As for the Groves team, they're coming off a 3-1 loss to the Berkeley Bears, but prior to that, they had won 4 straight soccer games, including 3 shutouts over Farmington, Royal Oak, and North Farmington. Where the Groves Falcons have struggled this season is on offense. Just 10 goals for on the season in 9 games. They'd like to turn things around here tonight against their arch rivals from Birmingham Seaholm, and perhaps that will start with Cameron Pepper. The junior leads the Falcons in scoring with 3 goals. Their head coach, Greg DeCorval, is now alongside our very own Andy Aubrey.
All right, Brad, now we're down here with Greg DeCorval, Groves head coach. And Greg, give us an update on your season so far. What's gone right? Where are you needing to improve?
We started off a little bit slow, to be honest with you, really just kind of finding our legs under us with, a new crop of players in. But we've really been finding our stride lately, just kind of finding out what works, figuring out, how our players play together, and things really kind of coming on strong right now.
Okay, give us a couple names. Who's been the strong standouts for your team so far?
Morgan Perry is huge, number 3. She's one of our defensive backs. She does a great job in there every single game. Cam Pepper, she's number 10. She's one of our forwards. She's great at controlling the ball, distributing and shooting. And Gabriel Gorman, she's a midfielder. She does a lot of great work in support as well. Just a lot of good possession, a lot of good work going forward.
Okay. Last question for you. This is the rivalry game. Your friends from down the road are here. And what does that mean? Is there a little more juice in the tank, do you think?
There's a little bit more juice. Yeah, we try to play down the amount of juice that's in here, but to be honest with you, otherwise if you get damped too early, then the juice kind of runs out by, the second half. We're just trying to play it out like it's any other game. I mean, we do know it means a little bit more, but we're just kind of trying to downplay it, just make it any other game, just so we can, keep our wits about us and, just go forward and play a strong game.
All right. Well, we will be watching. Good luck to you and the ladies tonight, and we'll wrap it up from down here, but don't go away. The start of this one is coming right up.
Welcome back to Birmingham Groves High School. Brad Fetters alongside Andy Aubrey, nearly set to go varsity girls soccer, a matchup between our two rival schools, the Seaholm Maples and the home Birmingham Groves Falcons. Andy, always exciting when these two teams hook up. We should be in store for a good one here tonight. Groves in their home dark green jerseys. Seaholm, the road team, here this evening in their road whites.
Yeah, always a lot of intensity. You can sense the buzz on the field. Both teams and their warm-ups as well as the coaches were ready to go. And I always look at it this way, Brad. These girls' soccer games we cover in the spring is sort of like a rite of spring. It's almost a, here we go, the weather's getting better. We got girls' soccer, so should be fun.
Not quite the kickoff to our spring sports coverage. We had a girls' water polo matchup earlier this week, but our first outdoor event of the year. We got spoiled here when what has been an awful week weather-wise. We're playing this game under crystal blue skies. The sun is out. Temperatures, what would you say, in the upper 50s. Wind,
Yep.
A little bit of a factor here tonight.
Upper 50s. Wind, it was breezy earlier. It feels like it's died down a little in the last hour, but don't kid yourself, Brad. As soon as that sun goes down, the chill sets in. Of course, the ladies won't notice it. They're running around working up a nice sweat, but our camera guys on the roof, they're going to feel it a little bit in another hour or so.
Yeah, I don't think the sun quite will set until late in the second half, so it won't really be a factor here tonight, but it is a stiff breeze blowing towards the other end of the pitch right now than we are at, so kind of in the face of the Maples here on the attack in this first half. If you're unfamiliar with the game of soccer at the high school level here in the state of Michigan, 40-minute halves. The clock will stop on injuries and after goals, and then we'll restart at the whistle of the head referee. So slightly different sort of set of rules compared to the professional game. Once the clock hits triple zeros, the half and regulation will end. There is no extra time, nor will there be any sort of overtime here this evening. The first of two between our two Birmingham schools. Kirsten Jasinski starting in net for the Groves Falcons. Gabriela Gonzalez countering in net for the Maples. Gonzalez comes in with a 2-1-3 record. That is the identical record to Seaholm overall. Talking to head coach Manny Rodriguez before the start of tonight's game, he kind of indicated to you and I that he sort of thought, well, the ties should be wins, and he wasn't quite thrilled with the amount of ties, and it's just kind of getting down to the nitty-gritty, and finishing was his quote.
Yeah, finishing exactly, and they were so close. Some of those ties, he said, and that's Manny for you, a glass half full kind of guy. It's what he talked about in the interview with me earlier, was just a bounce here or there. They were that close. Those ties should have been victories. So he's been pleased with the performance of his ladies so far this year.
Gonzalez stops it, kicks it over to the left wing side. Allie Adams, one of the captains for head coach Manny Rodriguez this season. He has 4 of them, in fact. Allie Adams, as I mentioned, Ava David, Sadie Green, along with Lexi Beckman. Rich history now under Manny Rodriguez, and he told you and I, and I can't quite believe it. Did he say he's been here for 12 years?
He did say 12 years. I had to check the calendar myself because I didn't think I was that old, or he, or you, or any of us for that matter. But that seems amazing because we can remember his predecessor, Ian Whitelaw, and that does not seem like 12 years ago. Meantime, Greg DeCorval's been at Groves for 3 years now, and that's a measure of stability that the program hadn't seen in the 3 or 4 years prior to his arrival. So, both programs on firm footing.
Here's a corner kick coming up from Seaholm, punched out there by Jasinski. And that was something that Coach Rodriguez mentioned as well, that he wasn't quite happy with some of the corner kicks that the Maples have been taking as of late. So he's changed some things around in terms of alignment and who's taking the corners and some of these set pieces out of the corners. Mentioned Seaholm comes into play 2-1-3 overall. They do have a better record on the road. They're a perfect 2-0-1 away from Seaholm High School. They haven't won yet at home, which is a bit of a surprise as two players tangle up there. Benavides.
And we got a little bit of a heads up before the game that things can get a little chippy out there. In my interview with Coach DeCorval, I asked him about the extra juice or the extra spark these players might feel playing their rivals like that. He said, that's something we got to temper. We got to just remind them this is another game and not to get too high up for it because they still got to play their game. They still need to put the puck in the net. Yeah,
well,
the
they got to
ball
put
in the net.
sure, yeah.
Yep, there's the first hockey reference I made. I thought I'd get through the whole game. I didn't get for the first 10 minutes without it. But, he's got to turn down the energy just a little bit, not let them get too above themselves.
And that is kind of an interesting thought. And we're fortunate that we do cover all of the matchups between these two teams. And I think there is a lot of respect amongst both of these teams, but there really is a lot of sort of ill will. These two teams love to beat one another, and you kind of look at some of the college rivalries, the Michigan States, the Michigan-Ohio States. Obviously, much more juice in these types of matchups. So it's interesting to note when a coach does come out and say, hey, listen, we kind of have to, bring that sort of back. We kind of have to bring that in, so to speak, because he says, and I thought it was very important, he says, by the time the second half rolls around, a lot of that energy is spent because they're going so hard in the early parts of these games.
Right, and I also think it's important to mention that there's a lot of friends on each team with each other.
A lot of club soccer.
A lot of them played, we went to middle school together, either at Derby or Berkshire, or grew up in the same neighborhood, just happened to be going to different high schools. Of course, both schools are unified in the sports of hockey and lacrosse. And, we're all Birmingham here in that regard. But you're right. There's always going to be that rivalry. And in some of the sports, I think even a little more vitriol than others in terms of, boy, do we want to beat them. Football comes to mind immediately. But baseball, too, I suppose. Other than that, it's always going to be a rivalry. And, again, as you mentioned, the respect factor is always there.
So we gave you the Seaholm's overall record. Groves comes into play tonight 5-4. A straight up 500 record here at home, 2-2. As I mentioned at the very top of tonight's broadcast, this is a Groves team, Andy, that is really kind of struggling to score. They've just scored 10 goals this season through 9 games, so just over a goal a game. And then when you look across the pitch, you're looking at a Seaholm team that is coming off of back-to-back shutout victories. They blanked Farmington 6-0, and they shut down Royal Oak 3-0. So maybe not the exact recipe for success here tonight for Groves, a team that's struggling to score goals against a team in Seaholm that has only given up 5 goals all season long. So just 5 goals against in 6 games. So, literally less than a goal allowed per game by this Maples defense.
And that really speaks to Coach Rodriguez. We've seen his practices. He makes them fun, but defense wins games. And that's all about trying harder than your opponent. And that's an effort thing, and it is that way in many sports. So if you're having a hard time putting the ball in the back of the net, there's always the strength you can lean on a little bit of knowing that you're going to be stout defensively, keep those balls out of your net, and have your goalies back a little bit, and just the effort that they put forward. And you'll win a lot of games that way. Sometimes you need to win a 1-0 game or a 2-1 game. So that's been the hallmark of their team for the years we've covered them, and obviously this year too.
And the thing to me that is most evident, Manny Rodriguez coach team, and to me it's one of the more impressive things, is the amount of buildup that happens in the defensive zone. It's not kickball per se. It's a buildup of multiple passes in the defensive zone that leads to offense, and that really begins with Rodriguez's goaltenders. Oftentimes, we've covered enough high school soccer games where it just becomes the goalie gets the ball and kicks it as far as he or she can to about midfield, and then it becomes a 50-50 ball, and the next thing you know, it leads to a turnover. With Seaholm's girls team, that is not the case. As right on cue, of course, we get a deep ball. But there is much more passing, crisp passing, tic-tac-toe type passing, as there's a bit of a through ball over to the right wing side, kept along the near side by Geller. Battle for it is won by McLaughlin of Groves. Manny does typically have some very fast forwards as well at his disposal, which helps with that build-up and that sort of attacking offense from deep in your own zone.
Yeah, he mentioned his team speed. He's very proud of the wheels that some of his players have, and we just saw it on that last exchange. There was some real quickness on display there, and that's the sort of thing that can wane a little over the course of the game. There's a lot of running involved. We've gone over for many years the distance these players go, run 7 miles, whatever it might be, and conditioning is obviously a huge factor, because as the game wears on in the second half especially, it's when it's won and lost.
Tangle up between Benavides and Cameron Geller. And Falcons will possess, looking to break out now. A little touch pass right onto the left foot of Cameron Pepper. Pepper, a name that head coach DeCorval told you to pay attention to, and rightfully so. The junior forward leads the team in scoring this year with 3 goals. Pepper with 3, Morgan Perry with 2, Kendall Gaines with 2. The only Falcons with multiple goals on the season. As we mentioned, a team that's really struggling to find any sort of offense this year. On the flip side, Cameron Geller leads the Maples in scoring with 3 goals. Paige Green has a couple, as does Samantha Sickinger. Gabriela Gonzalez, mentioned making her 7th start of the season, coming off those back-to-back shutouts. She's only given up 5 goals as there's a terrific feed into the box just out of the outstretched leg of Cameron Geller. First real good chance of the evening for either team. Unfortunately for the Maples, they couldn't guide it in on net.
Yeah, that was the first good chance we've seen, real good opportunity. It was set up right out in front for Seaholm. Unfortunately, she did not have a 12-foot leg, or else she might have been able to punch that one in.
12-foot leg would put her at approximately, 18, 19, 20 feet tall?
Probably. Plus, you'd want 2 that length, because that would really be awkward if only one of your legs was that long.
Would certainly affect your balance. The faithful making some noise. I believe that's the student section that's kind of right along the fence line here.
Yeah, why don't you lean out and tell them to pipe down a little bit, Brad?
Yeah, directly behind, I believe, our microphone that's kind of field side.
Yeah, we got a nice contingent of students down there. It looks like most of the guys cheering on their favorite player, lining up along the fence there.
I believe that would be considered tonight's flock.
The flock is in the house.
As Groves will look to build up from behind, starting out deep in their own zone as Jasinski came out of her net to put a boot into that one. Here comes the Maples now. Roberts up ahead, knocked down the defender. The ball rolls harmlessly into Jasinski, the senior goalkeeper. 25-45 left to go in the first half. So glad you decided to tune us in tonight here on BACB Sports. Brad Fetters alongside Andy Aubrey. Andy will be providing the folks all kinds of sights and sounds all spring long. Got a couple baseball games. Softball doubleheader on the brand new softball diamond here at Birmingham Groves. What a terrific facility. It is unbelievable.
You got to take a look, Brad. Coach or AD Flynn took you over for a little walkthrough over there earlier, and you came away quite impressed.
I'll tell you what, I have been to a couple Division II schools.
College.
Yep. And the facilities here at Birmingham Groves, top notch and better than those Division II colleges, I have to say.
That's impressive. And Seaholm's coming around behind there, too. They've got a lot of construction going on over there. And press boxes, new fields. Of course, we got the bleachers here at the football field at Groves. And lots happening. Very luxurious amenities, to be sure.
We got air conditioning and heat up here in our broadcast booth, Andy. Neither one is turned on. We actually have the window open.
You can't beat it. You just can't beat it. This is great weather. I know it's going to cool off, as we mentioned earlier, but the girls love it. I mean, I'm sure it's just perfect for them because we're not seeing any precipitation, nothing but blue skies and sunny conditions, and so it's not too hot for them. And we had a lot of rain earlier in the week, but none of that right now.
We're up there somewhere, folks. One of those windows. We're not going to quite give it away, right?
Yeah, we like to keep a lower profile of
right,
that in case people want to come after us.
So we mentioned softball and baseball. We'll have boys and girls lacrosse. Those are always really good games. Jen Dunbar, head girls lacrosse coach. Legend, right?
She is a legend. You know, we should really do a little check. We need to start looking through the roster of coaches for both schools to figure out who's been where the longest. Jen's name has to be towards the top of the list.
I would say so.
Certainly both football coaches have been around a long time.
An opportunity here. Deep through ball, and Jasinski will come out once again, scoop it up. Prevented any sort of shot attempt by Geller. Now coming down the left wing side, Benavides, a through ball just out of the reach of Kendall Gaines. Gaines, as I mentioned, a very dangerous forward. Junior has a couple goals on the season. Gonzalez kicks it deep, takes a big bounce right at midfield. High bounce, unable to get that ball down. Chung unable to play it for Groves, and now here comes Seaholm on the attack. Far side, through ball, touched, and a goal! Samantha Sickinger, her third goal of the season, gives the Maples the 1-0 lead.
Well, this one was a nice one. This just seems so innocent. Like so many of these plays, they start off looking rather innocuous, and then all of a sudden the ball is crossing the line, and that's exactly what happened here. And we'll see if we can't get another look at it here in a minute. But the scoreless tie is broken at the 22-minute and 25-second mark of the first half. And this is not to say Groves had not been responsible defensively, because they had been. They'd really been stymieing Seaholm for the first half of this first half, and but Seaholm finally pushed one in.
We'll take another look here, Andy, and making the play-by-play announcer look very full. Look at that assist right onto the right foot of Sickinger.
Yeah, she outdueled two Groves Falcons to make the pretty pass right in front, and then the sliding kick found its mark. So 1-0 Seaholm.
Eloise Roberts with the assist, her third of the season. Sickinger picks up the goal, her third goal of the season. And, of course, the Maples make the play-by-play guy look awfully foolish because that play started on a deep ball by the goalkeeper, Gabrielle Gonzalez. It was a deep ball that kind of spun at midfield and went over the head of the defender who couldn't quite bring it down. And the next thing you know, it led to an odd man rush by the Maples, and they deposited it into the back of the net. So maybe straying a little bit from the game plan, so to speak.
Yeah, and let's make sure we put the blame on the girls for making the play-by-play guy look foolish and not the play-by-play guy.
Well, it's not too hard to make the play-by-play guy look foolish, I can tell you that.
Well, you know, Brad, what are you going to do? This is why they play the games, right? Or matches, as they are more specifically referred to.
Ball goes rolling out of bounds. No ball person on that far side. Get the ball in a little quicker. So the clock continues to tick down. It'll be a throw in for Groves. Find Kendall Gaines on that far side, who unable to control it. Kind of a short little throw in, and now Maple's looking to go deep right in front of the Groves bench. Defensively, the Falcons solid. Kick that one deep. McLaughlin there defensively. She wears 19 in black. And Maple's first touch good. Controlled by Seaholm, but turned over onto the foot of Chung, who moves it upfield. A little bit of a bump from behind. And they'll give the possession back to Groves. A free kick for the Falcons with 19:35 now left to go in the first. Maples striking first. Samantha Sickinger's third goal of the season. Eloise Roberts, the assist. The Maples the 1-0 lead. A couple substitutions already in this first half. Should also make note that you have unlimited substitutions as well in the high school game. So a bit of a different wrinkle compared to the professional game as well. Really have to pick and choose when you want to make those subs in the professional game because the players cannot return. Look out. Opportunity here. Through ball to Gaines. Gaines on the far side. Touches it. Gets knocked down. Circles around it. O'Gorman with the opportunity and couldn't guide it in on net. But the possession will stay with Groves.
Well, that was Groves' first real solid opportunity of the game so far. They did a nice job with the tic-tac-toe passing, and they really had something cooking there for a minute, but the ball just went sort of harmlessly wide left of the net, and our score remains 1-0 Seaholm.
Well, I thought they were going to... It looked like maybe perhaps the signal was for offside. So that's why we had a free kick there for Seaholm, and now they will, in fact, have a throw-in. More I think about it, it sure seemed like that far side linesman had his flag up for an offside. So that was the official call. One-touch pass by Paige Green. Slamming on the brakes, looking for a forward. Ava David with the cross into the box. And Jazitsky will cover there once again for Groves. Both goaltenders have been active. They haven't been asked to do a whole heck of a lot in terms of making saves, but both have kind of crept out of their goal mouth to come up with some of those loose balls.
Yeah, they've been steady. Like you said, they haven't had too many tricky opportunities, but there was an exchange earlier there where Seaholm just sort of put it on net, a big looping shot on net. But you know, I think that's actually a worthwhile endeavor because anything can happen. You know, you can move it around 50 passes. If you never put the thing on the net, it's not going to go in. All of the pretty passes in the world. So
Carly's still wagging. A little bit too tall that time for Sickinger, a goal scorer. Sickinger tried to tiptoe that sideline. Instead, watch the ball roll out. Last touch by the Falcons. So Sickinger will throw things in. Two-hand toss, was looking to get it to Ava David. David, a captain originally from San Mateo, California. She is a long way from her birthplace.
that's for sure. Northern California, up there in Golden State Warrior territory. San Mateo.
Under 16 minutes now left to go in the first half. Maples in front 1-0. Cameron Pepper. She's a goal scorer. She's easy to pick out on the pitch with those bright pink soccer cleats.
Yeah, one day we woke up and everyone was wearing a different color pair of shoes. And I'm thinking of the NBA game. I mentioned that earlier. But, yeah, Boston Celtics wearing pink shoes and other teams with nowhere near bright green in their traditional colors are wearing mint green.
Uh-oh. Look out. Terrific intercept. This is Sickinger, the goal scored. Looking to go upper 90. Couldn't tuck it in.
Seaholm with the pressure on now. They've had a couple of tremendous opportunities here in the last minute or two, so definitely keeping the pressure on. We'll take a look at this last exchange. She was just a little high with this kick.
And that little bit of a bump defensively
yeah.
by Morgan Perry kind of threw things out of whack.
Threw her timing off just a hair. If she had had to take that one again, I think she'd probably go farther left and lower, obviously. But
here we go on the other end. Pepper keeps that ball in play. Pepper with a couple forwards. It's a through ball. Oh, nice play by Gonzalez. And that's the type of goalkeeping that we have talked about, cutting down on those angles, not allowing those passes to get through. Those kind of 50-50 balls are sometimes dangerous for the goalkeepers. This could easily end up in the back of the net, but Gonzalez able to cover. Shabib was the nearest Falcon to the ball.
Yeah, that pass had a bend on it that was really earmarked for the net, but it just sailed a little wide.
You talking about kind of going with some bizarre-looking cleats and color schemes. NBA jersey alone, to me, is become quite bizarre. You said it. The Celtics hardly even wear green anymore.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing. And we've seen some of that in hockey as well. I don't know if you saw the San Diego Padres on opening day. They had a pale green, pink, yellow, orange thing going on. It was very...
Manny Rodriguez going to... I thought Manny was going to throw that ball in there for a second.
I thought Manny was going to take the pitch. I mean, we always say that. Would never be surprised to see him come out there in a wig or something and pretend he's some, transfer student that just joined the roster.
These two teams kind of going with more traditional looks. Seaholm, as we mentioned, in their road whites with their maroon numerals. Groves in a black jersey with white numerals. Seems like the soccer teams, and I don't know why, maybe we can ask Tom Flynn this question, why the soccer teams don't traditionally wear green.
They have been black primarily, haven't they?
And this may be showing my ignorance, but I don't know if it's perhaps a soccer rule that the kit has to be black. I don't know.
Well, I consider you the foremost authority on the game of soccer.
Crosser off the head that time of Shabib. Bella Shabib has a goal on the season. It's a long run to go fetch that ball.
She's running halfway to Lasser Road to get that one, retrieve it. Usually they have a couple of extra ball boys or something like that down there, but not down in that corner.
over kind of by the track area where the pits are for the long jump.
Yeah, they've really cleared some space around here. If you go back this way towards the other end of the field or the pitch, there's were some baseball players practicing in an area I didn't remember seeing before.
Well, there's a beautiful practice field. And there's a goal seemingly out of nowhere.
That was as innocent a play as you're going to see, but she just placed that, and the only way it was going to go in was just where she put it, and it hit the crossbar briefly. Rather innocuous looking, and here it is again. Oh, my. Never did. I don't think it did hit the crossbar.
It's Cameron Pepper.
Just, yeah, she got a paw on it, but not enough to push it over the top of the crossbar. Instead, it went in the net, and we are all tied up.
11 minutes separating our two goals as Cameron Pepper picks up her 4th goal of the season.
And we're going to assume she's left-handed, left-footed, because she was just dynamite. I mean, that thing was just placed in a perfect spot to find its way in.
And Gonzalez had kind of tucked herself in along that near side post, and one would have thought she had cut down the angle well enough, but Pepper put enough of a bend on that ball to somehow get it around the post.
Yeah, I'd have to look at it again. I'm not sure if she was trying to grab it. She might have had a better success just trying to push it, tip it up over the top of the net instead of trying to catch it. So, no matter, we're tied up.
There's a very cool look from one of our cameras, kind of field side, giving you that perspective that we can only bring to you from the field. Kind of give you a sense of...
I love it. The tilted world. We got our man Greg Black calling the shots in the truck tonight and going to the different looks here and there.
Stoppage in play. Clock continues to run down. Referee going to wind it to say, let's play on. Well, in the meantime, the clock was already running.
Yeah, we burned about 40 seconds there while everyone was standing around.
So someone in the booth next to us, which is technically the press box per se, someone didn't catch that signal and didn't stop the clock. So,
well, we started a little late.
So here comes Pepper again from right about the spot that she scored her goal from, and this time she runs out of real estate, gets bodied down, and they're going to say Falcon possession. I guess not. They're going to say goal kick.
Ooh, there was a little trip there. A little trip.
And the holding of the ankle there. Pepper and Lund coming together. That time it will roll over the sideline. 8.5 minutes left to go in the first half. Look out, dangerous play. Jasinski able to clear it out from her goaltender position.
Well, you hold your breath when that goalie strays that far outside the net. That's called selling out, and if you better hope that you get there before that advancing forward coming straight at you.
Seaholm on the attack once again. Turnover. Chung up ahead to Everett. Loses track of it momentarily. Eloise Roberts goes back with it. Now the Maples will just kind of set things back up from their own zone. Touched and just out of the outstretched reach of Still Wagon. Field Mike picking up some of that chatter between the two teams. Communication, one would think, extremely important in a sport like this that is played over such a large playing field. Making sure everybody's in the right spot. Through ball, Jasinski again. Ooh. Couple bounces of the ball before sending it on its way. Headed.
Yeah, you know, knees take an incredible beating in this sport.
Yeah, that's why you see so many of these girls wearing knee braces.
Yeah, knee braces. You know, artificial turf scrapes.
Well, it's interesting as more and more schools and teams and leagues go to the artificial turf. There's artificial turf now in the softball and baseball diamonds.
Yeah, that's going to be a whole different brand of ball. But more consistent, you could say a lot less maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
Probably more expense, but in the long run, I think you mentioned Tom Flynn had said that, you know, he hopes for these fields to last decades now.
Well, the NFL is not real thrilled with the artificial turf. I think.
Well, not the previous generation of it.
Right.
So we got Newitt coming at Ford Field, right?
Yep, brand new field turf.
Looking forward to that. I hope they do something with those end zones, make them a little more fun, some logos or what have you.
I have to imagine soccer. Well, I know soccer should be played on real grass, and in fact, FIFA kind of demands it. If you remember correctly, when the World Cup was here at the Pontiac Silverdome, they brought in grass.
Yeah, they sure did. And with all the advances in growing technology, I guess, you'd think that they'd have figured out how to grow some grass indoors at this point.
Well,
I mean, I know Arizona, they truck it in and truck it out on their trays or however that works at the Phoenix down there in Glendale, but
Milwaukee is mainly an indoor stadium, and they are able to grow grass in terms of baseball.
Yeah. Is Allegiant in Vegas, that's still artificial turf, right? Or did they figure that one out there where they got grass now? I can't remember. I know it's a brand new stadium, but.
Well, the reason why the Astrodome had to go to artificial turf, hence AstroTurf, is the dome was kind of had glass and it was sort of magnifying the sun and it was burning up the real grass.
All right.
That wasn't such a genius idea.
Well, not to mention the fact if you have other events in there, whether it's a concert or
rodeo,
truck pull or something, yeah, monster truck show, you're going to have a heck of a time growing grass real fast for the following week if there's a football game.
Three minutes left to go in the first. The Flock encouraging some of that physical play.
They get a little more vocal as the game goes on. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, they're starting to feel it, so to speak. It's 1-1. That goal by Groves has obviously helped their cause, so to speak, in terms of the cheering. They got themselves in an early 1-0 hole, did the Falcons. On the goal by Sickinger, They answered right back. We are 1-1 approaching the halftime intermission.
Well, one thing about this sport, you don't want to go down 2 or even 3. You can almost cash it in because these goals are very precious, and you let that opponent get too far ahead, and it's awfully tough to come back.
That one skips sort of through. O'Gorman unable to control it. Goes back to Everett. Falcons operating through the midfield portion of the pitch. Up this Bell. Tried to touch it with Shabib. Through ball. And an offside call. Minute and a half. So all of a sudden the Maple is going to have to hurry if they want to take a halftime advantage.
How many times, though, Brad, have we called a game where it seemed like one team was the aggressor for the whole thing, and then all of a sudden, especially in soccer, hockey too, but it's been like out of nowhere, the team that had been outplayed seemingly for an entire quarter or period or half gets a sneaky one, and suddenly you're right there. You're tied up or you're a goal apart. So,
well, I would say that Pepper goal by Groves was a bit of a surprise. It certainly caught us off guard. From that angle, one would think maybe she was just trying to get something on net and set up a potential rebound, but instead she was able to tuck it around the post. She would tell us and tell you, tell me probably, yeah, I was trying to do that. Maybe she was. She may be in the running for player of the game when this thing is all said and done. You can go down there and ask her.
yeah, think she'll tell me the truth?
Of course.
Of course she will. How dare I insinuate otherwise?
And she had a defender draped all over her as well.
Well, it was a beautiful goal. There's no question there.
The PA announcer counting down the remaining seconds, and the Falcons will gladly head into the halftime break tied at 1 goal apiece. Sickinger and Pepper, our goal scorers in the first half. We'll take a quick break here on BACB Score with the score locked up at 1 goal apiece. Don't go anywhere. The second half of today's game will be coming up next.
Every ugly doll is unique.
I'm Moxie.
Bobo.
Wait.
Call me Slick Doll.
What?
And every child is too.
They can be pretty lovable.
That's why when you travel, you should make sure your child is in the right seat for their age and size.
This is why you're the wisest doll in town.
Well, keep them safe by visiting nhtsa.gov/the right seat.
Isn't that right, gibberish cat?
Find the right seat today.
Welcome back to Birmingham Groves High School. Brad Fetters with Andy Aubrey for BACB Sports. 1-1 tied after 1. Girls varsity soccer between Groves Falcons and the Seaholm Maples. Two teams have traded ends. Nearly set to go. Just waiting for one of the linesmen to get set. Referee out on the pitch. Entertaining first half of play.
Yeah, very evenly matched. And look out for the first goal scored of the second half. That's going to be very key because, I predict that that's going to give quite a jolt to the team that scores it, as considering the fact they have been so evenly matched up to this point. And it's the type of game that you look for the intangibles. You look for that extra kind of boost of motivation. And here we go, Brad.
See if those halftime adjustments are made. Come to find out which coach is the expert tactician.
Well, they know each other well, and there's not a lot of surprises. We gathered that in our pregame discussions with these coaches. They know what they're in for.
Get another look here at this upending. O'Gorman applying the body into the back of Ava David.
And, we hadn't really
Look out.
seen
Ooh.
much chippy play. I mean, it was pretty clean first half. And, nobody went down too hard. There was, legs get tangled. It happens, but nothing inherently dirty. And, let's face it, we've seen some dirty plays between those two schools over the years. They're out for blood, so to speak. So we'll see how this goes. The longer we play at 1-1, I predict the intensity will turn up considerably.
A touch by Stillwagon just out of the reach of Geller. So Stillwagon will throw it in from this near side. Right to a Falcon defender. That was Morgan Perry that stepped in between that throw in. Sun not quite behind the tree line.
Nope, I give it another 10 minutes. We should have that big ball Saul out of our eyes. Not that we want it to go away. The sun feels good.
It feels excellent.
Although we've yet to see much in the way of 80s. I know you said you got out and did a little golf so far this year, but we haven't had those consistent 70s and 80s. It seems like we've been teased a little bit and then back to the 50s.
Well, don't tell anyone, but I'm willing to play in just about any sort of weather.
I know you are. And you've proven that time and time again. Rain, snow, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter.
That's what rain gear's for.
Then you got a great excuse when you hit a bad shot.
Yeah, exactly. Blame it on the weather.
Yeah, hands were cold, club turned in your hand, whatever.
Supposed to play this weekend, but rain is in the forecast.
Yeah, we better enjoy this while we can.
Finally kicked out of bounds. That flock really starting to make some noise now. I don't know if any of it really makes any sense.
No, probably
They're,
not.
they're chirping.
I haven't seen Tom Flynn here at this game. I know you met with him earlier, but he's been known to tone things down a little bit. Get over there with his stern athletic director voice.
Oh, boy, what do we got? Foul in the box.
The flock didn't like it.
Some of the more colorful discussions that are taking place. Well, I think that was a pretty good no
Good
call.
no call,
Yeah.
yeah.
Just kind of,
Let him play. Let's settle it on the pitch.
this could be a dangerous play. Headed out, kicked on net. Chung able to guide it in. Didn't get a lot on that shot. There's a header. So we mentioned Seaholm coming off back-to-back shutout victories over Farmington and Royal Oak. They have a 1-1 tie with Lake Orion, a 0-0 tie with Berkeley, and a 2-2 tie with Ann Arbor Pioneer. Their lone loss of the season was to Saline, and that was the very first game of the season, a 2-0 loss in the home opener. Games coming up for the Maples include Waterford Mott, Troy, and Bloomfield. Thrown by Stillwagon. Gets it right back. Through ball, can't connect with the teammate. Jasinski will scoop it up. Boot comes all the way out to midfield, chasing after that loose ball. Cameron Pepper, the goal scorer tonight for Groves. And headed into the bench area. Kicked out of bounds. 5.5 minutes gone by, second half of play. Neither team with a scoring opportunity here in the second half.
No, it's been very blasé so far here, but you know, it's when you least expect anything. It's just nothing's really happening. All of a sudden, there's a breakaway. Now, Brad, at what minute mark do you predict things really start amping up? Maybe about the 20-minute mark or so?
Right about now, the 34-minute mark.
No, let's consider now do or die time.
Well, Maples had numbers there momentarily. As the Forest on that far side all of a sudden has kind of congregated.
Yeah, that was a bit of a boutique arriving crowd. A little late, a little fashionable.
Kind of like the Dodger crowd, right?
Yeah,
late LA game.
They were out on the I-5 still coming in,
In our case, maybe 696, right?
13 Mile was backed up, so they, it took forever to get parked, and it's.
They're certainly making their presence known as they're beginning to get a little more rowdier on that far sideline.
Yeah, they're going to want to start jumping up and down as soon as they can. It's getting chilly. I'm telling you now. We talked about it earlier in the game. It's when the sun's going down. Look out! It gets cool out here.
Yeah, the winter hats amongst the faithful here in attendance have begun to pop out.
Gloves, the down jackets, they have not been put away because these folks from Michigan understand how it works. It's April, right? Played more than a few Little League games in snow flurries. It's funny, I was thinking about some of the cold practices I coached my son's team, my daughter's teams, as well as played in when I was a kid, or softball as an adult. Those April games, you got to love it, or else you're questioning your own sanity for being out there when it's 42 and raining.
Even some May games. I distinctly remember playing baseball on a Mother's Day of all days, and it seemed like we got all 4 seasons in one. It started out as a beautiful spring day, kind of progressed into a summer kind of heat wave, and then all of a sudden something switched, and we went from summer to downright winter at the turn of a hat, and had some sleet fall, and I'm sure my mother just hated it, but she put up with it.
Yeah, she was the good mom. She sat there through it all. That's when there's not enough hot beverages for sale at the concession stand.
Yeah.
They were punching some hot dogs down there.
Really?
I saw that. Yeah, oh yeah.
The grill was going. Well, for some reason, we decide to live here and we stay here. I oftentimes question my sanity when it comes to living here in Michigan. Our springs last about a week.
Right? It'll be 90 next week.
You and I call the Memorial Day parade, and seemingly every Memorial Day it's like 90 degrees.
We've been lucky. Now, we've just jinxed it, but honestly, if you go back 10 years or more since we've been doing them, maybe 15 or more even, I can think of one rainy day when we did it from here at Groves, and everyone had left. And poor Michael Bouchard was walking in a steady downpour, hair matted to his face, his uniform drenched, waving at us because we were the only ones there. And that's about the only time I could think of where it was not ideal parade weather.
Sickinger, Jasinski once again covers. 30-30 left to go in regulation. As I mentioned back in the first half, no extra time, no overtime. So if this game is knotted up, tied up, it will end that way.
I don't know. I don't think it's going to happen. I think we're going to see a goal by somebody.
So you're making a little bit. You're going out on a limb.
I'm calling my shot.
And saying we're going to get a go-ahead goal. I like it, Andy.
And that goal will be the game winner. How's that?
That's even, well.
That's even more bold.
Is that a bold statement?
Well, and yeah, true. And the later the way this game is playing out, where goals are very, very difficult to come by, you have to almost think, especially if we go on another, say, 10 minutes without a score.
Oh, some fancy footwork there, and Seaholm able to defend. Yeah, I think it's a fairly safe assumption at this point with 29-19 now left to go. That the next goal may be the game winner.
It could be.
Turning it upfield. Sickinger, the goal scorer for the Maples, looking for the through ball. Cameron Geller. Goalkeeper once again. Fields that slow roller.
Ooh, bringing some rain. That was a tall one.
Kind of like a punt. Over the sideline. Award the Falcons the possession. Booted over to this near side. Picked up by Stillwagon. Unable to control, however. And the Falcons will turn it right back upfield. Keeping that ball in bounds. Shabib.
Yeah. Okay.
She kind of earned that call. And now our camera operators and everybody in the live truck are very talented BACB sports crews. There you get a terrific look at the settings. They're about to earn their pay.
Yeah, they're starting to scramble now, right? A lot of dials being turned to adjust for the daylight disappearing on us soon.
What's the old cliche in broad? It's a lot darker than it appears on your television screens.
Right?
The lights are on here at Falcon Stadium, I can assure you that. It is a very awkward setup. We've talked about this in the past, but it's worth mentioning. This is a very weird situation that the main press box, the main broadcast booth, and thus where we film from, is looking directly into the setting sun.
Mm-hmm.
Construction, when this place was originally built, someone didn't take that into account.
Nope, they could have turned the field. That's what they should have done. Made it go a long ways, oblong the other way. Yeah, I agree. Very poor planning.
Or at the very least, put this press box on the other side of the field.
Yeah, you know, 'cause you're not going to move the sun. So that's out of the question.
No, that sun's been around a lot longer than this building.
But
sure.
I can see where having all the electricity wires, if you put it on the opposite side, you're going to have
farther to yes.
Yeah, I mean, so that's a dilemma.
Yeah, you're right. They could have put the end zone
On the
towards that
field
setting.
this way.
Yeah.
I mean, could you do it? Looks like there's probably enough room. Then there's the track you got to take into account.
Yep.
And boy, do I still have PTSD over the day we called a track meet here.
Funny you should mention that. That topic came up today with Tom Flynn as well.
Don't tell me he wants to do track again.
No. I think that was a one and done.
We all needed therapy after that. I know I did, trying to run around and figure out who was who and who won. And oh my good Lord, that was a lot of fun. Love the track stars. Don't get me wrong, track athletes have my undying respect. My son ran track at Shrine, and I get a little. I usually pull something running to the car in the rain. You know, it's just not my thing. But I admire a track athlete for their determination and their stamina. But just don't ask me to call the meet.
Well, we get the luxury of having numbers in soccer, so we know who's who.
Right.
In track, they don't even get assigned lanes.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
It's kind of like a free-for-all.
I mean, can I get a name? Something? Anybody? Number? Whatever would help. I prefer the name, because going through the roster of numbers, and then you use like 2 number 12s or, that sort of thing.
Sure.
And not just that, it seemed like there was about 12 schools here, too. That was another added fun. I know a lot of those meets that I used to go to for my son was school buses from Plymouth to St. Clair Shores and
Every school in
Clarkston
between.
down to Monroe. I mean, it was 40 schools there. I started at 8 in the morning, and we were still there at dark.
Don't they call those like jamborees?
They call them nightmares.
You got a throw-in coming up for the Groves Falcons. Pepper. Exactly 24 minutes left to go in the second half. Turning on the Jets. Still wagging. Those the sidelines. A little give and go action along with Sickinger. Sickinger back to Taylor Hartwig.
I'm feeling some tentative play on both sides. I understand playing careful, brand of ball, but somebody's got to sell out if they want to score a goal.
Yeah, you sort of get the feeling that neither team is wanting to kind of force things and make that pivotal key mistake that'll lead to a goal. There's kind of a
tentativeness to it.
Feeling out, so to speak, maybe in the second half. And maybe that's sort of why the Maples have those 3 ties on the season.
Well, you want a point. You need to, get some points, of course. Those ties are better than losses, obviously, but again, in the overall sense, we sort of look at these games, I don't care what sport we cover, you get kind of a sense of the aggressor, the team that seems to be forcing the play in general. And to me, it's been Seaholm so far. But Groves has obviously done enough to hang with him. So in that regard, I'd consider these two teams very evenly matched. And like you mentioned, Brad, it's just going to be a matter of who wants to try and take that little extra chance. It's either going to pay off or you're going to get burned.
Boy. And there's maybe perhaps one of those sellouts. Sickinger into the midsection of Jasinski. Biggest save of the game. Point blank.
Yeah, that was from about 12 feet away. She could have easily let that one slip by her, but a heck of an opportunity and an even better save, as the scoreboard stated. The rough play, she pushed the defender off of her, ended up with another nice opportunity, but
it's just the time. So once again, Andy, no overtime, no extra time. No penalty kicks to decide this game. Once that clock hits 0, we're done, even if we are tied at 1-1. Sickinger working around her defender. Here we go. Maples trying to set something up. Ava David, the captain, right in the middle of the field. Through ball and out of the reach once again of Geller. Geller's going to turn on the Jets. Apply a little bit of pressure. Rolls over the end line. So it'll be a goal kick.
just a little too far out in front. It looked like for a second she was going to catch up to it. But that one harmlessly fell out of bounds, and we got a goal kick going the other way with 20 minutes and 20 seconds and counting left to go.
Anybody's ball game.
It's anybody's game. Don't leave your sets, folks.
Jasinski And if you've missed any portion of today's game, Bloomfield TWP, as well as the Birmingham Area Cable Board website, your go-to places online, as well as our YouTube channel. All of our Bloomfield Community Television programming available to you on our YouTube channel. Best thing to do, and I've already done it, is hit the subscribe button on the YouTube channel. Get notification through email of when all of our programming, our new programming, is available to you on YouTube. The beauty of YouTube, Andy.
24/7, 365. Although, if you do have cable or you're watching us on cable right now, I'll know this for a fact, having lived in Birmingham and in Royal Oak when I used to get the school's channels, or occasionally go by my friend's house or my folks' house who have Comcast. It's interesting to watch these broadcasts somewhere in late August when they're still being broadcast, talking about us. It snowed today. We got a sleet and rain. It was 28 degrees or whatever. And meanwhile, as I'm watching, it's outside. It's like 101 or something.
Low line driving kick. Right onto the foot of Sadie Green, one of those 4 captains. Should make mention, Allie Adams, another captain for Manny Rodriguez, will be playing soccer next season for Rollins College down in Winter Park, Florida. Congratulations to Allie Adams.
Winter Park, Florida, was just down there a couple weeks ago. It's a kind of a neat community. It reminded me of Milford, Michigan. It had a little art fair going on in downtown and some great restaurants and art galleries and little museum. And somebody was down there. I think the Blue Jays may train from Winter Park in spring training, if I'm not mistaken. But
we'll get our crack staff on that, or research staff.
I really shouldn't have spoke because I'm not positive, but I do know there's an MLB team down there. And, Rollins College. Robbins, right?
I asked Allie, I said, well, why Rollins College? And she said, well, it's a beautiful campus and it's really warm. And I kind of shrugged my shoulders. I said, well, it's about as good of a reason as any, I guess, right?
Sold. Absolutely. And she gets to play soccer and have her tuition paid for, maybe, we presume.
Oh, boy, Andy. Did you hear that breaking news?
Hot dogs for $1. Get them while they're hot. Go on over there. Run. Don't walk to the concession stands. Well, they can't. They don't keep very well, so you got to move them out.
Bring them up to the press box. Headed out defensively. Kendall Gaines trying to turn that up. And you talked about it. You kind of mentioned that Seaholm has really dictated play throughout this game. But really in this second half, they have tilted the pitch to their side of the field. Now, all of a sudden, does that sort of doubt start to creep in? Manny Rodriguez talked about it. It's time we start finishing. We need to start finishing. Is that kind of what is taking place here right now?
Yeah, it could be. As you mentioned, we talked about this. I feel this way, that the Maples have carried the game for the most part, but the scoreboard speaks a different story. And, if he's preaching that in practice and Groves is kind of standing up to these onslaughts or these rushes as they have and kept the ball out of their net, there could be some doubt that creeps in. And then you start to press a little bit. Maybe you tried too hard, and
where they often say when a hockey team's not scoring, they're just gripping the stick a little too tight.
Just a little too tight. Yeah, exactly. There's some tightening up going on. That
Looking for the through ball, now going around a defender. Cameron Geller threw it to the front of the net, looking for Ava David, and defender stepped in between once again.
Well, this game's not getting any longer. 14 and change to play here now.
It's beginning to be crunch time.
Yeah, for as much as Seaholm has carried the play, it wouldn't surprise me a bit if you saw Groves odd rush out of nowhere and they, steal this thing. So I know they're faithful are here in attendance, and they would love nothing more than that. But it's really, goal's been hard to come by. Here's a rush coming this way now.
Thrown on net by O'Gorman. Whoa, look out. Oh, boy. Gonzalez, I guarantee you Coach Rodriguez was holding his breath seeing that orange jersey come flying out of the net.
I mean,
holy cow.
Both of them. Greg, too. I mean, they both were, they aged a little on that exchange.
I kind of looked up and I was like, what is that bright orange? Oh, it's the goaltender,
Yeah.
Gonzalez. She's sneaking out. She's doing more than sneaking out.
She's out 80 feet from her net. Let's see what happens here. And she got there in just the nick of time.
A little bit of a kind of do or die play. And
That sure is. If she misses that, it's, that might be a game-winning goal. The one we talked about that's going to win this one, and now I feel more strongly than ever that if we get a goal here by either side, you can almost book it.
now all of a sudden, the Falcons, we talked about the Maples kind of sort of dictating, but now the Falcons have.
They've had it tilted down there, and now, down the
swing of momentum. All the way out to midfield. Picked up there by Geller. Crosser to the far side. Sickinger, the goal scorer. She streaks down that far side. Throws it wide. Misses everything. We'll have another goal kick. Senior Jasinski will put the ball in play. A late substitution hustled onto the pitch for the Falcons.
Yeah, I was watching that JV game before this one earlier tonight, and those headers can become facers pretty quickly.
Yeah, one false move, right? Instead of hitting your forehead or top of your head, it's hitting your face.
It's hitting your nose, and I'm sure a soccer ball is broken in more than a nose or two.
So you're going to call the foul on Groves to the dismay of many folks in the crowd. Seen some softball players make their way over. The Groves Falcons had a doubleheader today with Royal Oak. Into the box, headed through. Oh, boy, that was a dangerous-looking play.
Yeah, that one wouldn't surprise me if it had gone in. It was just that close.
Let's get another look at it. Good free kick right into the box.
Nice camera work, guys. Really beautiful.
Headed there by Roberts. Still wagging. back to Roberts. Roberts has the assist, so she's quite the playmaker, and that was Sickinger once again. Sickinger has been all over the pitch tonight for the Maples.
Right, yep. She's covered a lot of ground and been a key factor for them.
Uh-oh, we got a Falcon down, remaining down, now back up on 2 feet. Roberts back to Green. Over to Adams. Probably can't wait to get down to Florida. I thought it was a fair question. Why Rollins College?
Oh, absolutely. For sure. I mean, how many colleges are between here and there? Winter Park, Florida, I mean, must be 400 of them.
That is the beauty of both of these schools. Student athletes getting to play at the collegiate level and many going out of state. We've had this discussion plenty of times. Amazing how these student athletes are able to find some of these schools. Or maybe the schools find them.
That may be more accurate. But does that mean Rollins College has scouts in Birmingham looking for soccer players?
Well, if they didn't before, they do now.
They must, yeah.
Maybe they're tuning us in.
Well, they have only 3,100 students there.
Wow.
So that's like, I don't know, like a spring arbor or something. I mean, small.
Rollins blue and gold. The Rollins Tars. They participate in the Division II's Sunshine State Conference.
Their mascot is Tommy Tar.
Interesting.
So what is he? Just like a big black blob, like a gooey, like road, I don't know, something.
Well, Wayne State used to be the Tars.
Tartars, that's true.
Tartars,
Well, they
yeah.
were the Tartars, which was interesting for like a seafood sauce, fish and chips. The Tartars. I always thought that was weird. I know there's a sort of a something, whatever the Tartars are. They went to the Warriors, right?
Yep.
Wayne State.
Anchor Bay High School's the Tars.
Oh, okay. You are our expert on the east side. You absolutely know all those schools over there.
I'm looking through Rollins' most famous alums.
Anybody you've heard of?
Jim Bowden. Was
Okay.
a general manager in baseball for many years. Here's a golf little factoid. Pete Dye and Alice Dye, two terrific golf architects.
I was going to say, they designed a lot of
TPC
courses.
Sawgrass, yep.
Right.
The infamous island hole. There's a nice save. Get another look at the save.
And this was a nice save. She went down, and this is one of those, you short hop it, it can go bounce right over her into the net because it's a great shot. Ooh, okay. It kind of rolled out of there a little bit, but she saved it.
Chris Kirkpatrick from NSYNC.
Okay, of course. One of the lesser-known NSYNCers. He was no Justin Timberlake.
Anthony Perkins, best
The
known for his
actor?
role as Norman Bates. Yep.
Okay.
In Psycho. So there's your famous Rollins College alums.
Bet you didn't know you'd get that kind of an education tonight, folks. 5:22 to play. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty here, Brad.
Something's got to give.
Something's gotta give. I don't think anything's going to give. So I'm suddenly feeling a 1-1 tie.
This could be the odd play. Ooh, looking to get it over to Pepper. Shabib.
Uh-oh. Look out. These players, these fans, they're officially into it. I am noticing that once a player goes down,
Now we got a Groves player down.
and that's been happening, there is taking a little more time to get up. A little more time. We're right down to the wire here now.
And that appears to me to be cramps, right? Leg
That
cramping
could
up.
be. Yeah, that does have that feel for sure.
That would be the stretch for cramps. Oh, yeah, there you go. Right, get those toes down, yeah. That doesn't feel good at all. So stoppage play with 4:38 left to go in regulation.
And we need to adjust that clock on our screen, of course. They've stopped it for the cramping player with...
So Seaholm appears to be ready to go. Officials have taken their place. There we go. 4:38 left. And away we go.
Well, this is it, Brad.
Cross headed out, headed up. Controlled by the Maples. They'll regather kind of deep in their own zone. And a takeaway. Kind of sneaking up from the defensive spot. Kate Lund. No points on the season from the defensive zone. 4 minutes exactly left to go. It'll be Ava David. And this will be a corner kick. And this was an emphasis we know during practice. Right foot, bends it in, headed into the back of the net. The Maples take the 2-1 lead. Practice pays off for the Maples.
Well, they stuck with it, and they had been the aggressor here for the last several minutes, actually. And we're going to take another look at it.
Eloise Roberts gets her head on it from the far side. Off the assist via the corner from Ava David.
And Roberts used that height to her advantage because that was the difference. She was ahead 6 inches or more on the leap ahead of everyone else, and that may be our deciding goal here. Take one more look at it.
From our field level cam.
Wow.
Well, now all of a sudden the Falcons will have their very own corner kick. Maybe perhaps anything you can do, I can do better. And this one's a little deep. Too much strength and power behind that corner kick as it gets cleared out. 3 minutes left to go. What a goal by Eloise Roberts. Her second point of the game has a goal and an assist. Kick goes back to Jasinski, who's just going to give it a big boot with the right foot. It's going to be picked up by Ava David. And now the Maples can kind of go into a little bit of a stall tactic.
Yeah, this is a matter of killing some time here. They've only got 2:23 to do it, and they can walk out of here their opponent's pitch with the victory.
Coach Rodriguez on that Seaholm sidelines got to be saying to himself, I love it when a plan comes together.
Right, just the way he drew it up.
And a collision, no call. Seaholm maintains possession. They kind of just drive it further in deep. Fired downfield. 90 seconds left to go. Falcons in need of some instant offense. But it's going to be a throw in for Seaholm. Geller just runs out of real estate. Throw in for the Falcons. 70 seconds left to go. Here we go, under a minute. Seaholm kicks it out of bounds. Has to be an awful feeling right now to be a Falcon.
Well, they played their hearts out. I mean, outstanding effort by them, and they kept it close. But they never really got much offensive pressure on. They sort of treaded water here this whole second half, seemingly almost content to stay even at a goal apiece. But let's give Seaholm some credit, too, because their defense has been very stout. And Groves has not really had those openings or those real serious opportunities to get anything going. So, I mean, well-played game on both sides, and neither side should hang their head whatsoever. But one's going to feel like they're walking on air, and that's going to be Seaholm the way this is looking. 12 seconds left.
Well, I think, Andy, you're going to go down to the pitch as we have just 10 seconds left, and Seaholm looking to put the finishing touches on this road victory. I think it's got to be Eloise Roberts, the game-winning goal, along with the assist on the very first goal of this game, as Seaholm comes away victors tonight with the final score of 2-1. She waited until nearly the last minute of this game to come up with the game winner. 3:39 left to go. The header off of the corner kick as the Maples win it 2-1. Andy, your final thoughts before you head down to the pitch to get our player of the game interview.
Well, Coach Rodriguez, you're going to be proud of his ladies tonight. They put on an outstanding show. Greg will, too. I mean, both sides, they can't knock the effort for their team. Seaholm just had a little bit more. We kind of felt throughout the game they were the aggressor, and they got the money goal at the end to give them the victory. So we'll get down there, have a speak with Miss Roberts, and just a great game, Brad.
We'll take a final quick break here on BACB Sports, but when we come back, our post-match coverage, including Andy's player of the game interview. That's something you do not want to miss. Come right back.
If you love them enough to relearn math so you can teach them math, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the-right-seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
Welcome back one final time to Birmingham Groves High School. Brad Fetters here for BACB Sports. What a game here tonight. A little back and forth seesaw affair between the Maples and the Falcons. Seaholm getting on the scoreboard first by Samantha Sickinger with the assist to Eloise Roberts, and then Groves answered back. A huge goal by Cameron Pepper, her fourth goal of the season, knotted things up at 1 apiece, and it took us all the way until the 3:39 mark of the second half. A corner kick by Ava David right onto the head of Eloise Roberts, who puts it in the back of the net. Roberts' first goal of the season turns out to be the game winner here tonight. A final score of 2-1. Eloise is alongside our own Andy Aubrey, Eloise Roberts, our BACB Sports player of the game.
Sports player of the game, Eloise Roberts. Number 18, game-winning header. Eloise, take us through the play. How did it develop?
My teammate, Ava, crossed it off of a corner, and I kind of just jumped up and just hit my head and went in the back of the net right behind the goalie.
Yeah, you sure did. Like I told you beforehand, I mean, we just saw your head just sort of emerge, and you'll watch it when you. I'm sure you're going to watch this game again. You better. We put the whole night into this thing. Excellent goal. Would you say that's the biggest goal you've ever scored?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. Okay, so you come into Groves, you beat them on their turf. Explain the feeling of that.
It feels so good to beat Groves because they are always just our biggest rivals, and it's just fun to come on their field and beat them.
Right. Now, when we talked to Coach Rodriguez before the game, you've had your share of ties this year, right? Yeah. So he was very insistent that he wanted to wipe the ties off the slate and get some victories and get those key goals at the end of the game. Would you say those are some things you've been working on in practice, kind of getting that break that tie usually?
Yeah, well, we work on corners every practice, and so it's nice to finally score off one, but we are always looking to win. We've been having some unfortunate chances with our last games, but we are always the better team, just never really putting it in the back of the net, so it feels good to finally do that.
Right. Yeah, the scoreboard doesn't lie. So what kind of momentum do you think your team could build off of a big win like this against your rival, late, big goal?
Yeah, it feels really good. It's just nice for the league because we were down in the league, and now I think that kind of put us in a way better position. So, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'll say congratulations to your team. Coach Rodriguez is going to be thrilled. You'll all sleep good tonight. And, again, great goal by you. And keep winning. We'll wrap it up from down here for right now. Big win. Seaholm defeats Groves. Brad, we'll send it back up to you to wrap it up for us. Thanks, Eloise.
Thank you.
Okay.
Well, thank you so much. Congratulations to Eloise Roberts. Thank you to Andy and the rest of our hard-working BACB sports crew. A fantastic job here tonight. Greg Black was our director. David Fantow was our technical director. Sheik was our replay operator. Lily Felshig was our graphics operator. And our camera operators tonight were Jalen Harris, who was working that cool kind of on-the-field camera. Lee Selman, Brad Ross, Dan Sigler, and Mike Abels were camera operators as well. Fantastic job by our BACB sports crew. First outdoor broadcast of the spring season was a good one. The Seaholm Maples come out victors 2-1 over the Groves Falcons. Eloise Roberts, the senior, with the game-winning goal via the header on the corner kick from Ava David, the game winner. These two teams will match up once again later on this season on May 11th. We'll have that game right here on BACB Sports. Can't wait to call it. For Andy Aubrey, I'm Brad Fetter saying goodnight from Birmingham Groves High School. Once again, the final score, the Seaholm Maples 2, the Groves Falcons 1.